Verse 784. After the passing of the leader of the Sakyas, these will follow me: Vasya, Kanada, Rishabha, Kapila, and others. 785. Then, 100 years after my passing, Vasyas Bharata will appear, the Pandavas, the Kauravas, Rama, and then the Maurya. 786. The Maurya, the Nanda, the Gupta, and then the Metsha, who are bad kings. After the Metsha will rage a warfare, and then the age of vice. And after this age of vice, the good Dharma will no more prevail in the world. 787. After passing through these ages, the world will be thrown into confusion like a wheel. Fire and the sun being united, the world of desire will be consumed. 788. The heavens will again be restituted, and therein the world will take its rise, together with its four castes, kings, rishis, and the Dharma. 789. The Vedas, worship and charity will again prevail with the revival of the Dharma. By narratives, histories, prose compositions, commentaries, annotations, thus have I heard, etc., the world will again fall into confusion. 790. Preparing properly colored cloth, have it further cleaned. Have the cloth dyed with bluish mud and cow dung, making it nondescript in color, so that the body may be covered with robes in every way different from the appearance of the philosophers. 791. Let the yogin preach the doctrine, which is the badge of the Buddhas. Let him drink water filtered through a cloth and carry the hip string. In due time, let him go about begging and keep away from things vile. 792. He will be born in a heaven filled with light, and the other two will appear among mankind. Decorated with precious stones, he will be born as a god and a world lord. 793. In the abode of light, he enjoys the four worlds by means of the teaching based on the Dharma. But after a long reign over the worlds, he will retrograde on account of desire. 794. Thus there are the Golden Age, the Age of Triads, the Age of Two, and the Age of Vice. The Lion of the Sakyas will appear in the Age of Vice. I and others in the Golden Age. 795. Siddhartha of the Sakya family, Vishnu, Vasya, Mahasvara, and other philosophers will appear after my passing. 796. There will be the teaching of the Lion of the Sakyas told in the Thus I Have Heards, and that of Vasya in the narratives, So Indeed It Was, and the past events. 797. Vishnu and Mahasvara will teach about the creation of the world. Things like this will take place after my passing. 798. My mother is Vasumati. My father is the wise Prajapati. I belong to the Katyayana family, and my name is Viraja, the victor. 799. I was born in Kampa, and as my father and grandfather, being descendants of the lunar race, my family name is the Moon-protected. 800. Making vows, I shall become a homeless mendicant and teach the doctrine in 1,000 ways. Mahamate being given assurance and anointed, I shall enter into nirvana. Verse 801. Mate will hand the doctrine over to Dharma, and Dharma to Makala. But Makala and his disciples being too weak, the doctrine will disappear at the end of the Kalpa. 802. Kashyapa, Rakuchanda, and Kanaka, who are the removers, and I, Viraja, and others, these Buddhas all belong to the Golden Age. 803. After the Golden Age, there will appear a leader by the name of Mati, who is a great hero, or Mahavira, well acquainted with the 5 forms of knowledge. 804. Not in the Age of Two, not in the Age of Triads, not in the Age of Vice, which will come after, But in the golden age, world teachers will appear and attain Buddhahood. 805. Without removing the marks, without cutting it into tens, have the upper garment patched with spots like the eyes of the tail of a peacock. 806. Let the space between the eyes be 2 or 3 fingers apart. If the patches are otherwise distributed, it will excite in the ignorant a desire to possess. 807. Let the yogin always keep the fire of greed under control, be bathed in the water of knowledge, and practice the triple refuge, and exert himself diligently throughout the 3 periods. 808. When an arrow, or a stone, or a piece of wood is sent forth by means of a bow or sling, one hits and another falls. So it is with good and bad. 809. The one cannot be the many, for then nowhere would diversities be seen. Let all receivers be like the wind, and donors be like the land. 810. If the one were many, all would be without a causal agency. This is the destruction of a causal agency, which is the teaching of the theorizers. 811. Their teaching will be like a lamp, like a seed, because of similitude. But where are the many? If the one becomes the many, this is the teaching of the theorizers. 812. From sesame no beans grow. Rice is not the cause of barley. Wheat does not produce corn. How can the one be the many? 813. There will be Panini, author of the Subdanetri, Akshapada, Vrihaspati. Pranetri of Lokiyata will be found in Brahmagarbha. 814. Katyayana will be the author of a sutra, and Yujnavalkya will be like him. Boduka will write the astronomical works. They will appear in the age of vice. 815. Balin will appear to promote the welfare of the world, the happiness of mankind. He will be the protector of all that is good. Balin, the king, will be a great ruler. 816. Valmika, Masuraksha, Kautilya, and Asfalayana, who are highly virtuous rishis, will appear in the future. 817. Siddhartha of the Sakya family, Bhutana, Panchachudaka, Vaga Bilaratha, Medhaven will appear in the times that follow. 818. When I take my abode in the forest ground, Brahma, chief of the gods, will give me the hairy skin of a deer, a staff made of wood, a girdle, and a discus. 819. The great yogin will be called Viraja Bhamuni, the teacher and pointer of emancipation. He is the badge of all the munis. 820. Brahma, with his retinues and many gods, will give me an antelope skin from the sky, and then the ruler will vanish. 821. When I am in the forest ground, Indra and Viryudaka and others, accompanied by the celestial beings, will give me most exquisite garments and a begging bowl. 822. Seeking for a cause in the doctrine of no birth, one may say that that which is unborn is born too, and imagine that the no-birth theory is thereby established. But this is done in words only.